We'll get started with Roger's overview of the code in a minute.
So, some of the things you do need to do, you need to deal with certificates if you're going through using HTTPS, and we do that for some of ours. So I've set up this will get applied to the connection that it uses, and it just accepts any certificate. Again, if you want to do better certificate checking, this is where you would put that.
Great, thank you.
One of the main things you got to set is the host. Where are you talking to? And of course, this example is just set up to talk to local hosts, like all the examples in Jim's document. And then we set up some URLs for all the different services that we're going to talk to. We'll stick with just the work product service to stick to just what's going on with Jim's app or document there. One of the first things you've got to do is set up credentials, because you do have to have credentials to use any of the work products or the services. So just username and password. Here's where I use that accept certificate policy that we saw earlier. And then here I have a couple things that create services. So if we go look at this, creates a proxy that you can use to interface to this service. And it gives you back another class, which is incident management service, but it sets up your credentials and a service proxy so that you can call methods on the web service once you put together your XML document. And I'll let you kind of dig through those details, but that gets down to that service is how do I use .NET primitives of connecting and posting HTTP messages, like Jim talked about using poster. You've got to do the same thing in code. This gets down to underneath that method and that class is the code to actually post XML documents to a web service, just like poster does, only this is in the .NET code. So let's just see where we use incident management service in here. So one of the things you can do with that class is get a list of incidents, and this just goes through and prints out this list of incidents, so it gets a list of incident types of the digest, so like Jim talked about, and then walks through and prints out the name of the incidents that are currently on the core. Here you can see where we're doing a create incident. So we've called this create incident class or method. Here that goes through and creates an incident class and sets those few of the required attributes on it. Let me just open up incident.cs here. What you can see in this incident, here's a class that I called the new on, and this is where it actually builds up the XML document. So what I had to do to build up the XML documents, so for instance, here's a build usage incident type element. It's going to walk through and create new XML elements with the activity text, the activity date, the description, name, location, and fill in basically those same places where Jim had insert name here, insert description here. This is the code where I created that XML document. Yours went down. This is where the code that actually does those inserts. So if you've set the values and then asked it to build up the document, it'll create that XML document for you, which will get returned in this class, which represents the XML document. Then you can call the create incidents method on the incident management service. Let me go ahead and bring that up. And that was create incident. So here's where you can see we do a rapid and soap. So it's going to take that XML that you just put together from the template. It's going to wrap it in those few lines of soap, and then it's going to call this post method, which does the HTTP post, and returns a response. And then it'll process the response to check the results to make sure it was returned correctly. And then it'll catch any exceptions from the HTTP response and tell you what was wrong there if you had any problems there. So I mean that's kind of the basics of where you get that XML template filled in and how you pass it down into some of the XML or the .NET code to actually do the post for posting it to the server. And I believe post method. And here you can see the implementation of the post method where it gets a standard web request. I believe those are the primitives from Microsoft for doing web requests. And set the encoding, set a couple options on it to tell it that it's a post method, not just a get, what the content type is, the MIME type for your posting, the length. You get your stream and then write your buffer out to that stream and close it. That does the post for you. And then here's where then you can get the response back from the request once you're done, and that's what's returned to the methods that call post. So this is exactly basically what poster is doing. So you've given it the XML, it takes it and does the actual network calls to do the HTTP post, and then to return you the response. Any questions there?
You mentioned also using Mozilla Firefox, their poster. How would that integrate into this, or is that just another alternative to use?
That's just an alternative to use because you can just bring. In fact, I don't have Firefox installed. I just got a new laptop not long ago, so I'm reconfiguring everything.
Okay.
It's an add-in to Firefox, and it just gives you kind of an easy way to cut and paste an XML document into the poster window. Click the post button, and it's post and see what you get back. It's really for just examples to see how do you do something and what do you get back.
Alright, I got you. This probably for a test. This is probably the cleaner way so you can automate it better and everything.
Yes, yeah, because otherwise there's a manual process involved.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have to cut and paste from something and put it in poster and post.
Yeah, the poster is really for somebody like me who's a social scientist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, those are the basics of walking through the example.NET code that Jim showed you, and building up the XML document and posting it. So, if you try to when you get the code, if you're gonna just be posting incidents, stick to looking at the incident management service, because I have a lot of other everybody would call, I get requests for, can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? So there's lots of other things in this example code. But if you just walk through what the incident management service does, that'll keep you focused on incidents.
Okay, good. That works. So I guess it's just a matter of kind of going in there and poking around and getting all the environment set up and everything. Looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think you're right. I think I would start there and just walk through where the incident management service is used, and maybe go down and look at each of the methods and see what they do, and then ask us questions if you don't understand something, what we're doing.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, good for a starter.
I'd say so. Looks like we've got now we got a little bit of a kind of direction now, then we can start digging in.
Yep, and later on today we'll get you the access so that you can download all this. And as Roger said, there's no substitute for just sort of scrolling through the code. So.
Yeah, right, because that's when you can really start looking at, if you find any other little, quirks or something that you might need to work through.
Yep.
To go into it.
And one of the key for you is you need to get things onto USIDS and be able to take them off. All the other problems of dealing with WebEOC and everything else, we're taking care of that side, because once it gets onto USIDS, it gets shared. So
Right.
Daphne brought something if we should talk about updating. The little bit of code here I highlighted, once you have an incident, you've done that create incident, you can also just update that incident, capital I, incident class, the instance of the incident class that you have, and put an update incident to the incident management service. That will go through and make sure that you're updating against the latest version. That I'm not positive against. As I say that. So it's been a little while since I've gone through this code here, so let's take a look. I believe this one is probably, yeah, it's just going to take what you give and update it. So the one thing that this code does not do is not getting the latest version of the work product before it tries to do an update, which is one thing you should do. Just this works if you're the only one updating the incident.
And in this case,
you will be. Started, you will be.
Yeah. Under the design, other people could come in and say, gee, I have a chemical plume model related to this incident, and update the incident, telling people that they have the plume model and telling them where to go get it. I think in this first round, especially with the speed with which I see your fire incidents come and go, you'll be the only ones who are touching this. So I think this code is up to at least first version definitely sufficient, because there won't be anybody else coming in and touching your incidents, and that's almost a policy, I guess we would almost say.
And you can see there's a lot of other things where we're doing notifications and maps and ICS, but down here at the very bottom, we do go ahead and close and update the incident. And you can just reuse this code. It'll know which incident it was, and then go ahead and close it, and then archive it is what removes it from the machine, from the core itself.
Yeah. Oh, we'll go over all that again at another time, but it's the create, update, close, and archive, with close and archive being usually done simultaneously. The idea behind it is I can close the incident, it'll remain on USIDS in case somebody wants to archive it. Archive it actually removes it from USIDS, and because USIDS isn't the system of record, your CAD will be the system of record. So in your case, just do a simultaneous close and archive. Mm-hmm. But we'll go through that as we all progress through this and keep in touch. Now, we do our regular calls on Tuesday afternoons at some time, and that might be a place where if you just want to drop in for a couple minutes to tell us how you're doing, or if you have any questions, that's a place that you'll always know that the team is available. If it's a highly technical question, you want to make sure we get Roger or Daphne on the phone, then that's probably one that you're going to want to contact me and say, hey, I need this answer now. So completely open and available for any questions that you have, but then that standing meeting in case you want to report in on anything.
Jim, this is Carolyn.
Yes.
Hey, got a message from Arlene saying she wouldn't be able to make our call this afternoon.
Okay.
Mother-in-law was also on vacation. I don't have an update on the install of our server, so I just thought maybe we should skip today.
Okay. We can do that. We'll connect next week then.
Jim, this is Dan. Would it be helpful for them to just see a short example? We've kind of gone through the theory and the flow chart, but do we have a practical example we could run a quick demo dog and pony show for the programmers?
Sure, I can post an incident on Poster and just sort of take it all the way through. Those who are not social scientists sitting here in the room with me are marveling and perhaps wondering whether I will be able to accomplish that.
sharing first, or
Yes, we'll come back to me.
all right, I'll stop sharing. Okay.
And
Let me take over, or do I have to point you?
yeah, looks like I'm now
Okay.
the presenter.
Okay.
All right, then let me do the. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna just cut and paste it right out of here. Let's take. Let's come over here, and this is the example request. And what I'm going to do is change the lat long a little bit. Any idea what your lat long is out there, guys? No? All right. I'm going to change it over here to latitude 39, which is going to put us north of here, north of Washington, D.C. And I'm just going to take and cut this right out of here. And come over here to my Mozilla. And tools and poster. And I'm going to paste this all right in here. And now for my URL. I'll come over here to the admin console, which I'm going to
Are we
get.
supposed to be able to see something? I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, you're not seeing anything? Oh, okay.
You didn't share, probably.
Then let's go back here.
And I thought it was just me.
I thought it was just me, but I thought I'll be the stupid one and say, okay.
All right, now we're sharing the whole desktop. Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Now we got something.
All right. Well, what I did was come over here to the document, this single incident document. I took it, copied it out right out of the document that you have, came back over here to poster, which is the Mozilla add-in, and pasted it down here in this area. And now https://test2 usage dash test 2. You won't believe the big grins on these people's faces here. All right.
We're all smiles.
.sassy.com.
Oh, actually, I know where I have that.
In your getting
I
started
have
guide.
in here my getting started guide.
I was wondering how you could use that.
So I'm going to create this incident here, and I'm going to copy this from the Getting Started guide into poster. I'm going to give my username and password, and I'm simply going to say post. And with any luck, it's sending, and I got a response. This response is, yep, it says it's been accepted right there. And this response, with this whole SOAP envelope and all the rest of the stuff down here, is exactly what we saw over here in the response element for that original posting. And this response would then be coming back to your code, and your code is then going to say, okay, I see that it was accepted. I get the work product, the original work product submission number here, and you can also
Oh, that work product identification.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately unformatted part.
yeah.
Scroll up just a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right.
Scroll up just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Little bit more.
There you go.
Oh,
There we go.
Start.
Okay.
Start.
Right here.
So here's the. You're going to pick this out, and this is going to tell you right to end about there. And that's going to tell you what the magic number of your work product is, so that when it comes time to close it, update it, or to close it, you're just going to hit that number and say,
right.
this is what we do.
What you want to remember is that whole XML element is the unique identifier for this version of the work product. So whenever we ask for a work product identification in one of the schemas or somewhere in one of the creates, updates, or closes, you'll want that whole section there that's highlighted right now goes in there. And you can just take that right out of the response you get and put it right into the next request.
All right, so we've got it sent to the usage core. Now, I'm going to come over here, and I think I can find usage admin console for test 2. And over here you see we've got the cores that we're associated with, and services and profiles and interest groups. And under the interest group, we're going to have an interest group that includes incidents. And here we've got that, I forget, well, this is the second one. So one of these we just submitted as the terrible incident, or the really terrible incident, since I had submitted that previously. And if I take a look at it, Monday, July 1400, yeah, that's probably this one. That was yesterday? Oh, okay. So then it'll be this one. Monday, yes. I lost track of time again, didn't I?
Tuesday, there we go. That's the one.
Tuesday, okay. So here we've got Tuesday. So in this formatted form, I get the work product and I get the metadata that we just saw there. I have the work product digest with the latitude and longitude in decimal values. And then I have the structured payload down here. That was what was just submitted as your payload that came through. If you click over here on the console, you can see the XML that is the exact same XML that I took and then pasted into the whatever that is, the getting started guide that we had out there. And what the heck, let's go all the way here. Let's pull it up on Google Earth. If we take a second here or so. Let's see, that's host 2. Let me come over here and find a test 2.
Which is unclick host 2.
I have to quickly go in and change. I think, nope. Yes, there we go, test 2. So it's called host 1, but it's actually host 2. I'm going to test 2 where we just were. It returned 11 results. If I click on this we have the terrible incident right there. There might be 2 of them, so I'm not sure which one was which. But I'm guessing this will be the second terrible incident. And we'll see if this is north of Washington, D.C. Yep, it looks like there's the terrible incident. And it's someplace in Pennsylvania, no, northern Maryland, it looks like there. So there's my terrible incident. And if I click on it, I get that it was type CBRNE, description, submitted by. And this is the formatting. If we had additional non-usage data in there, it would get formatted looking like this, given that best practices that we talked about before. So that takes it from a little change that I did to the XML, posting the XML, seeing it inside the usage core on the console, and then seeing it out here in a third-party application. And if anything were connected to this, they would be seeing it right now as well.